Okay, so take three. This is very interesting. I'm trying to talk about resistance today, and interestingly enough, this is take three because the first two at my office were a no-go. They stopped about a minute and a half in, and now on this take, it was having trouble getting started. So we're just going to see how the energy goes. I sent up a prayer that this would be able to be shared, and we'll see what happens. So I don't know where you're at today, but I woke up in full resistance to some things on my to-do list for my business, for work, and thought, I'm not alone. I'm going to share this today, even though I had another topic that I wanted to discuss on my live today. And so we're going with this. How does it show up? How do you recognize it? And for me, I woke up this morning, I had a huge ball of nervous energy in my stomach, sort of a stomach ache, just not real comfortable, like really tense, all this nervous tension, and not really understanding why it was there, because this was the day I had set aside for some classwork and some definite business tool things that I needed to do, and I didn't realize how much resistance I had to certain pieces of that, and actually creating those, and my own internal, I guess fear is part of it, about creating those and the need for them to be a certain way, and the tension around creating that. Anyway, so how does it show up in the physical body? Right there, you've got nervous tension, stomach upset. You might feel overly exhausted or tired or want to stay in bed, sleepy, depressive type feelings. Might have headache, might have trouble with your eyes, like trying to focus on something that would keep you from doing something that you need to engage in. And what I found was, even acknowledging that as I woke up and realizing that that's probably what it was, I still found myself going through my morning slower than normal. An avoidance technique. My shower, getting my son ready to drop at school, getting our breakfast ready. Everything seemed to have all these extra pieces involved in it that took longer than normal. So I think it was close to an hour later than I normally get him to school on Monday mornings, because it's based on my work schedule for this preschool that he's in. But I just found it so interesting that there's this mental machination that we create of ways to avoid, delay, procrastinate when we're in resistance to something that is, especially that day, presenting for us to face. And I found too, like, even not just being slowed down, I was getting distracted with other activities that were pulling me away. And even after dropping my son and sitting down at my desk to do it, because that's how I know we move through resistance, we just have to sit and do it. And we'll talk more about techniques to move through it here in a few minutes. But I did find myself wanting to go into answering emails or reminding other pieces of business stuff, writing a big list of all the to-dos. I just kept finding tasks that weren't on track with the one thing that I was in huge resistance to facing. And so diving into that for you, when you see that, when you recognize, like, wow, I'm in resistance to this in a big way, how do you move through that? So first you have to see it. First you have to really hone in and go, okay, that's what is in front of me right now. I can see it. And then you have to acknowledge it. Just say hello to it. Say, you know what? Oh my gosh, that nervous tension in my stomach. Hi Jen, thanks for joining. That nervous tension in your stomach, that headache, that desire to not get out of bed, whatever it is, just say hello to it. Say, you know what? I recognize you for what you are. I realize that I'm in resistance to doing this particular thing today, and I just have to acknowledge it. Like any problem we face, if we acknowledge it, we can move through it. So then how do we go? What's the next step? So we've seen it, we've acknowledged it and said hello. Then we actually just have to dive in. And what I found, like my example today, is creating an ad. And I have so much tension and fear around it being just right, or hitting the mark as far as the wording and all that. And when I always remember that building something or creating something is about progress and not perfection, then I can relax a bit and just let things flow, because when I let things flow, I'm inspired. My angels start talking to me, and then I know it's going to be right. And so that might work for you too, where you just sit and maybe you need to write a letter to someone. Maybe you have a project you need to finish for school or for work. And by just diving in and beginning the automatic manual steps of starting to type, starting to write, even if it's not right on target for the subject, moving into action steps is what's going to move you through that nervous tension, through the resistance, and bring you to the other side of it. So for me, I found that spending an hour actually just working on this ad, for example, that I needed to focus on today, started taking me into that place of, oh no, I want to say this. And my guides and angels were then able to actually address it and speak to me. So use that tool. And if you're really, really stuck and you are facing it, you've said hello to it, and you're sitting there trying to move into it, ask for help. Trying and effort is the first block to energy. Effort is an immediate block to the flow of energy. So just being willing to sit and say, okay, I acknowledge that I'm in resistance to this. I need some help. Send some prayers up for yourself to be surrounded in light, for whatever influence is around you, making it very hard for you to focus on that thing, to have that be temporarily removed from your space so that you can just start working on it, to be inspired. And that is almost 95% of the time going to be doing the trick for you as far as moving through something you're resistant to. If you have a specific situation and you want to share it or have questions about that, please feel free to put in the comments. But I think, hi Kayla, good to see you. We're just talking about resistance today. So I had a funny little story in trying to even get live today. It's taken 3 takes. I had to actually come back from my office that I drove to specifically to do my live from, because I love my office setting. But came back, and then even trying to get on now, it was blocking and not wanting to start. So I thought that was really interesting, because I'm not resistant at all to doing my lives. I love talking to you guys. I love having the interactions every Monday. And so if you have questions about resistance, or even if after the replay, if you're catching it later and have questions, please put them in the comments and I will get back to you with them. But right now, what I'd like you to do is just hold in your heart space something that maybe in your life you're resistant to right now, because I'm going to pull an angel card for us and just give you some direction or guidance from the angels as far as that particular thing for you to move through. And hi Nancy, thanks for joining. Just to catch you up right now, because we're about to pull an angel card. We're talking about resistance today. So if you can think about something in your life that you are in resistance to, especially today, if there's a task that's making you avoid, procrastinate, delay, feeling nervous tension in your body about, I want you to hold it in your heart space, and we're going to just pull a card for an angel answer, for a little guidance about that particular aspect. And actually I'm feeling that we need to draw 2 cards. So I'm just going to let these cards flow and speak to me. Let's see where the heat is. A lot of people, when they do their card readings, they shuffle until one falls out. And I actually, because I do so much energy work, like to really feel the heat of the cards and which card is in particular calling. So, feeling this one here is the first one to address it. And then I'm feeling like the second card is going to be some helpful insight about once you move through the first step of your resistance, what's going to be more of an outcome for you. So, let's look at what these are. And the first one is really about the issue right now, and just where you're at with it in your body right now at this moment. And it's the Ace of Ariel, and it's your lucky day, new resources of money, time, or support, a change in job or promotion. So if that relates to your specific situation of resistance, know that, wow, there's new resources available, money, time, or support. So that is one of the things we talked about, being able to move into that space of, okay, I see what I'm resistant about. I'm saying hello to it. I'm acknowledging it. And then if I just can't move through it on my own, I'm asking for support. So maybe that's asking, reaching out to a friend, a coach, or your angels. And I encourage you to do that and just hold space for what you're resistant to so that you can move to the other side of it. And so when we move to the other side of it, we've pulled divine guidance. And this is Archangel Sandalphon's card. In the search for meaning in life, consider an alternative approach. Surround yourself with wise teachers or friends. So that to me says that you are going to get to the other side of it with some assistance, and that support, that assistance that you reach out for is actually going to give you a different perspective, and not necessarily out of the box, but a different way of thinking about what you're facing to be able to move through it. So an alternative approach. So I think all of us can be helped by that, and I hope that that's helpful to you and to anybody that's tuning in later. And that's all I have for today. So I'm going to wish you a wonderful Monday and a powerful move through whatever you might be resistant to in your life right now. And we'll see you next Monday. Bye.